Let's talk about Vampire in the Garden takes place in a world where humans have been driven into a walled city of light after losing much of their territory to vampires. The world is in ruins, with the remains of human cities dotting a snow-covered landscape. Humans have gotten rid of their music and culture, saying it's a weakness that the vampires could exploit. I don't know, something about the vampires having a sharp sense of hearing, or something like that. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. The point is, music is banned in human cities. Humanity is now just salvaging the ruins of its former glory, living day by day, only finding happiness in each other. This is how we find our protagonist, Momo. She's the daughter of a general, working in a salvaging team, and in the front line of humanity's war against the vampires. Humans might take out some vampires on their salvaging missions, but they also lose men at the same time, and it's not even clear if all the vampires are actual threats. I mean, just look at this cute little vampire. I want to just pinch her cheeks. Momo finds her daily joy in her best friend, Morena, which is really relatable. I also find joy in my friends. Opposite to her is Fine, the absentee queen of the vampires. She also really doesn't like the state that the world is in, and just wants to get along with the humans. She likes music and dancing and art, and would rather do those things than go fight. Vampires still have humankind's music and culture. In that way, they're almost more human than the humans that we actually see in the show. They sing, dance, make art. They're living while the humans in the show are just surviving. Anyways, the vampire nobles want Fine to take back the throne and lead the vampires against the humans. They don't particularly like the humans slaughtering them, and would rather they stop. Fine doesn't want to take back the throne though. She's gone into a deep depression after losing a human friend, and just wants to find a place to die. Which is really relatable. Her childhood friend Allegro convinces her to tag along as the vampires invade the human city. And we see how both sides hate each other. Humans have been seeking out and massacring the vampires on their salvaging expeditions, just going to town on them. And vampires have been burned into humankind's mind as the embodiments of evil and decadency. On the other hand, the vampires just would rather the humans not kill them. Oh, and also they need to drink their blood or they go crazy. During the battle, we see how determined and desperate both sides are to kill each other. The humans giving their own lives to take down the vampires, and the vampires in turn using an experimental drug that turns them into a hulking monster. At the same time as this battle, Momo and her mom are fighting. Momo found a music box on a salvaging expedition, and her mom, the general, discovered it. A gentle reminder that music is still banned in human cities. This fight breaks Momo, and she runs away. She finds herself caught in the middle of the battle, completely defenseless. And this is when Momo and Fine finally meet for the first time. And no one saw it. Okay, to be fair, at least 10 people saw it, but not as many as there should have been. The show got buried when it was released. Spring 2022 was just a stacked season of anime. You had Shikimore's Not Just a Cutie and Komi Can't Communicate Season 2 cornering the cute girl market. You had the return of critically acclaimed and popular shows like Kaguya-sama Love is War and Rising of the Shield Hero Season 2. That's not right. That's not a good show. Anyways, you had Summertime Rendering being one of the best shows in the last couple of years. And on top of that, you had Spy X Family taking over the season and dominating the community. Where does Vampire even fit into all of this? What Vampire in the Garden does well is create beautiful moments. Not every minute of the show is a banger, which is a problem in such a short series. But when it decides to hit, Vampire in the Garden hits hard. This was produced by the studio behind Vinland Saga Season 1, Spy X Family, Ranking of Kings, The Ancient Magus' Bride Season 1, and the first 3 seasons of a little show. You might have heard of it, Attack on Titan. Studio Wit is a studio that you pay attention to because they're in a small group that pushes the bounds of anime as a medium. Even their shows that miss usually has something redeeming about them. Usually. And the staff for the show is also made up of artists who push the art form. This is a seasoned team that can make moments magical. There's just a raw emotion in some of these scenes that would make any other show a best-in-season contender, or at least talked about. but that just didn't happen here. Why? I think there was a number of reasons why Vampire in the Garden didn't take off. Beyond the fact that it came out in a stacked season of anime, where even the best show of the season got easily overshadowed, this show had other problems. For one, it was locked behind Netflix jail, which is a curse for everything that is not the big shonen of the season. If a show is the shonen hype, then it will be fine on Netflix. Netflix just has a bigger user base than a more anime-specific streaming service like Crunchyroll or HIDIVE, and if a show is more likely to be recommended to a more normie anime audience, then being on Netflix is great. For those shows, being on Netflix means more views and more social media attention, which right now is what makes shows blow up. But for everything else, Netflix is a curse. If you are not an extremely noteworthy series, then it's a death sentence. And even if a show is noteworthy, it's less likely to have the same impact as it would have had if it was on, like, Crunchyroll. Either way, it's better than being on Prime Video. Please watch Recreators. The second problem is the show's short episode count. It is really hard to build up hype when you only have 5 episodes to do it with. Right now, anime live and die by how much traction they can get. If a show can't build up to that moment that breaks the internet, good luck getting an audience. But to be fair to Vampire in the Garden, it arguably has those moments. But that's where the episode count comes in. There isn't enough time for an audience to get thoroughly invested before those big moments. I am not saying that Vampire in the Garden has a pacing problem. Far from it. If you look at the show from a more traditional media lens, then I think it's inarguably well-paced. Nothing feels like it drags, and the moments are built up within their episodes. But that's the problem. They're built up within their episodes. Having a quicker build-up and delivery works, but it doesn't build the kind of hype that you need for social media. If the big moment of, let's say, episode 1 was built up in the same way as something like Demon Slayer, then it would take the entire series' runtime to get there. I'm not saying that one is better than the other from a storytelling perspective, they're used to tell different stories, but it doesn't work in Vampire in the Garden's favor here. Basically, Vampire in the Garden is a hidden gem. Maybe go watch it. Anyways, thanks for watching, have a good one, see ya.